Alright, I think we're there. I think we're live. All the live buttons say live. Good morning, or indeed, maybe even evening or afternoon. It's hard to say. Wherever you are. Hope you're having a pleasant Wednesday. Here we are for some more live coding fun shenanigans, if you will. I certainly will. Julian, hello. Kind of reached an interesting... I'll wait for people to filter in, but I'll sort of just prattle on for a bit as we start. Reached an interesting juncture, I think, where actually I kind of don't want to do too much more on the sort of engine-y, mechanic-y kind of parts. I mean, I do, because it's fun, but like I think we're actually at a point where we've got enough primitives, building blocks, toys, things, widgets and doodads to start thinking about maybe getting some gameplay. So I think that's what we're going to do today. My plan for today is as much of a plan as I ever have on any of these live streams, is to take main and basically strip it right back, because main has basically been like a test, like a dumping ground for all of everything we've written. We've effectively instantiated it and run it through main, and it's a bit grim at the moment. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to start paring that back, and then I want to start adding in a little bit more structure, I guess, around the game, maybe, perhaps, but also start, I think we're elaborating. I think the word I want is elaborating. We're going to see if we can find some fun somewhere. I have a horrible feeling my tooling's broken. Yes, because Quacko, who is always on Twitch, has said hello, but it's not appearing in my thing. Hold on one moment, caller. Accounts. Platforms. Accounts. Why is... Let me... Okay. Are you sure you want... Yes. For some reason, I can't see the Twitch chat in my combined chat. Well, I always have a backup window, so for those on Twitch who think I'm not paying attention, I am. I just have a... It's not as easy for me to get to. Chat, question mark. In big in this window. Okay, I think we're there. Platforms. Apologies for my, I guess, lack of understanding of how any of this actually works. I'm kind of making this all up as I go along. Yeah, I do wonder that my audio is slightly just generally out of sync. I feel like, I mean, it's kind of funny, I don't actually watch a lot of live coding myself. I dip in and out of it, but I mean, if I've got any spare time, I'm probably writing code rather than watching someone else. But I always feel like every live stream I ever watch, like the audio is perfectly in sync with the video, and then I go back and watch some of mine, it always seems slightly out of sync, and I just don't know what I'm doing wrong. Like I've got pretty good internet connection. Oh, I see. They went in sync with each other. Okay, but I do worry that, like, because I can't really tell. OBS makes it look like the audio is very much in sync, but then I have no idea if it's out. And I sort of Google around, and people are like, just add a small delay to your audio, and I was like, well, that sounds like a terrible solution to the problem. Like, by how much? And is it consistent? Who knows? Anyway, let's do some stuff. I moved my camera earlier. Now I feel like I'm slightly to the side. This could go terribly. Nope, that's, if anything, that's worse. Absolutely pro today. None of the software works and the camera's pointing in the wrong direction. Okay, is there a fix for that? Like, do I compress one less or more? I don't know. Like, again, I got a half decent PC, so... Anyway, so... Let's have a quick review. Let's have a quick review of main and see what we can kind of strip out, because we've got this concept of a game entity which we should probably move to its own file. First thing we do is log. That's pretty grand. Check that we've got a root path. Set up the window. We're going to need all this stuff. I'm actually gonna suggest we strip out the physics for what I'm kind of envisioning first, which I know we spent several streams bashing our head against Jolt, and we will absolutely need, at the very least, like collision detection. But for now, I kind of want to keep things simple. So I think we might delete that. So we don't need a floor shape. So we definitely need a resource loader and a mesh loader. I want the barrels, so we definitely want the TLV, and we want the reader, want all this. This is all good. This, I guess we'll still have that logging, seems fine. Ranges, all this sort of stuff, this is fine. Load our simple fragments in. Got the vertex shader, the fragment shader, that's fine at the moment, because again, we kind of only have the concept of one material, which we're rendering most things with. We've got the mesh, and then we have our renderer. And then, so I don't want this, don't want this. I do want a bunch of entities. I don't want these, I don't think. Okay, so our scene is probably okay, I think. I think we'll just leave that as is for the moment. What was debug lines? Oh, that is the data structure for rendering the lines from the physics engine, right? I think it's been so long since I've done any of this. That's fine. So we definitely want a camera. We definitely want all that gubbins set back and slightly up from the origin. Yeah, I think we will eventually load this. I think my plan is to stick more and more stuff in the TLV. Like these shaders should just be in the TLV. The scene, like the level data should be in the TLV. More and more stuff's going there. For now, like that's more kind of like packaging for release, and we are way, way away from that. I'm going to keep the sky box because that will kind of work. So we got the gamma. We're going to want the key state, I guess. I'm going to turn the debug UI off for now, but I'm going to keep it there. And then again, this is all sort of bonus new line. Don't know where that came from. So pump the vents. I think we're going to want all this. I don't want to do anything on space. What I want to be able to do is to move around on the XZ plane, so no elevation. So, which I think it does anyway, right? So we've got the mouse. So again, we always want the mouse. Oh, actually, I guess just leave that in there because it's useful. Mouse button event, we need that to drive through to that. That's fine. Walk directions, fine. I want to get rid of Q and E for now. We might add those back later. We might need like a camera fly mode to facilitate like debugging the levels, but I think that's fine. So I think we want to go back to camera translate velocity. Okay, and then get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of, oh, hang on, get rid of that. Okay. Indeed, the fly hack. Okay, so I think that's kind of what we want. And what I want, actually, is just, excuse me, a single barrel at the origin to start with. And now I regret deleting my code because I can't remember what the parameters were. So we had, here we go, for loop. Mesh material, blah, blah, blah. So we did them as a 0.05, because aren't they like really weirdly large, like obscenely large barrels? So the game entity needs a render entity. Of which I can't remember how any of this works. Okay, so we're gonna put in here one game entity which consists of, oh actually, interesting, I don't want the rigid body, so we can simplify this again to entity. I'm pretty much going to be like guessing a bit today. Mesh. There is. If you're interested in more sort of actual, I mean, it's all going to be in C++, right? So we're going to write lots of C++. If you're interested in more like the nitty-gritty, low-level C++, there is something I want to play around with today. It's a bit more gratuitous, but for me, if we get time, so definitely hang around. I think that could be fun. Writing a game is a lot of work. This is our 30th stream, and we don't really have anything. Like, if I'm being totally honest, like we've written a lot of code. I think it's about, I don't know actually, 10,000 lines maybe? I don't know, we've written quite a lot of code. We don't really have anything yet. 0.0, is it 0.005F? And then the textures was didn't I zip all these together somewhere? Text samp, which I really absolutely hate as well. And then entities just equals now entities pipe to stud views. I'll say transform const auto e. Hang on, what we're doing. Return stud address of e. I think that'll do us. To stud ranges to. I think I want to convert that to a vector, right? Sure, sounds good to me. Basically the scene, so as I'm kind of trying to remind myself what's going on. So scene is a non-owning collection of things to effectively render, so the lights and the entities. I can't remember if it has the camera. I don't think it does, because I think you render a scene from a camera and those are separate. It does need to own a skybox though at some point. Because it's non-owning, I don't want to give it a copy of all these entities, because then the only way I can manipulate them is going back through the scene, and it sounds like a pain. So I give it so what scene actually has is a collection of pointers to entities, so it doesn't own them. It basically say these entities exist somewhere else. Here's a collection of pointers to them, and this little ranges magic here just converts, basically transforms this vector into a vector of pointers to those elements. Yeah, so C++ 20 introduced aggregate initialization, much like C has always had. So you can, as long as it meets certain criteria, so it doesn't have a default constructor, is therefore trivially copyable, trivially constructible. I can't remember, there's some restrictions, but if you meet all those, then you can member-wise initialize the members of a class or struct, as long as you declare them. So the difference between C and C++ is C++ you have to declare them in the order that they are declared in the underlying struct, whereas C doesn't care, because C doesn't have the concept of like constructors or anything like that, so it kind of doesn't matter what order you do them in. Right, let's just see if that works. Because I've got a make file for my latest video, and so now I have kind of very much muscle memory of keep typing make. Yeah, game development is interesting. Yeah, difficult. It certainly is a wild ride. Yeah, I guess. Oh my goodness, why am I so fast? Yeah, it might make more sense for it to have a pointer to the underlying type, because that way, if I wanted to add more elements to it, I would then just have to. I could manipulate the underlying structure. I'm just trying to think if there was a reason why I did it that way. I think it might have been to avoid what I just said was an advantage. So you can kind of. I can keep as many entities as I want in memory here, and then if I want to render them, I just have to stick a pointer to it in this collection. Whereas if I make it mirrored this, there might be situations where I want to hide things or not render them or change maybe the order of them, and then I could just work on the pointers. So yeah, I think that's why I did it. But I think both are, at this point in our lives, equivalent. Bit of both. I started my career doing a lot of Windows C++, so I'm pretty familiar with that and the tool chains. But I've also done a fair amount of Linux, so I'm kind of fortunate enough to have experienced both. I kind of use Windows as my daily driver at home. I use Linux as my daily driver at work, so it doesn't really matter. I prefer the Linux dev environment. This comes up a lot. I prefer Tmux and Neovim, and there I've sort of really forcefully put the square peg through the circle hole here and forced it into WSL with the Wine version of it, with the Wine MSVC port, so I can kind of have. So I'm on Windows now, but I have a nice Linux dev environment. Why was I going so fast? I think that was the next question. Wasn't there a disparity in the scaling of the physics engine, and therefore I had to change the speed? I seem to remember this being a thing. Yes. Wasn't it like something like 0.5? I need to lock the mouse at some point. Okay, fine. I might have to change it so the window is spawned at the right location for stream, because at the moment it's off screen, but then when I use the mouse to drag it up, it changes it. So I might just fix that now. I think that could be a if I can remember how. Somewhere, why is... have I had these open somewhere else? I feel like I've got a lot of like Neovim swap files like kicking around. Anyway, somewhere there should be what? Create window X. And one of these, I think, or two of these technically, is the, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait a minute, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh no, wait a minute, that's the fake. You have to create a fake window in order to resolve the WGL functions. Never forget. Where's the actual window I create? Here we go. And in the constructor. There we go. Huh. So I use the autocomplete engine. What's it called? The LSP I use is ClangD, which is built into. Oh, sorry, if you use Kickstart, which is the kind of starting point for NeoVim that I use, it comes already like kind of pre-installed. You just like kind of, I think you just have to uncomment it in the init file and make sure you've got all the. No, I think it installs it for you actually. But yeah, I use ClangD as part LSP and other dev words. Hello. Because the question is like why bother doing any of this when you have things like GL, FW, and STL? A large part of this is just because it's fun to do from scratch, and I think there's a lot of value in kind of going through and learning how to do these things from scratch. Even if you don't need it, I think it's good to know how they work under the hood. And like I said, I kind of find it fun. Like there is fun in it for me in developing as much of this from scratch as possible, with minimal external dependencies. I would say if you're going to go down this route, yes, pick something off the shelf and actually don't spend 30 streams getting to this point. Start making games earlier. But for me, and again, I think for the kind of people who watch my videos and come along to live streams, there's people have an interest in this. Of course, I actually now do have to call it. Oh my god, so many includes. Can I remove or see how that one goes? Let's probably remove something I actually need. I think it's remove log. Yeah, the log's a funny one. I think it's just the way I've written a really unnecessary log function. Gets a little bit confused with it. So how big is my what's my resolution? So X is going to want to be 3840. So 1920 by 0u. Let's see if that blends. Let's see what transitive includes I've accidentally removed. Would you consider using X Windows for Linux and whatever Mac users too, maybe together with preprocessor if to test the OS? So I have absolutely no plans to do that. I have written or started writing an engine before, which was cross-platform. It's a lot of work, and it doesn't get me any closer to making a game. I think that might be a fun extension to do way in the future, and I'd be open to doing it later because I think that, again, there's a lot of interesting stuff to do in that, like knowledge and stuff. But I have no plans at the moment. I think on macOS it would be Metal and is it and it's not Carbon, is it? It's the whatever the like NS window and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, maybe Cocoa. Maybe, and then, but also on your second point, you don't actually need to use the preprocessor. You should be able to do most of it through CMake and just common header files, which we've done in the first live stream series we did, where we started building a hacking process hacking toolkit. I feel like that was not the end goal. I feel like it was demonstrably worse than what we had before. And also the game doesn't support resize events, so this isn't going to work. But I feel like I might have gotten my arguments a bit wrong somewhere, because that definitely looks like a height of 0. I'll just set the window phase. It won't take too long. Like 2 hours later, and I'm pulling what's left of my hair out. Here we go. XY width height. What is, have I just... Oh, make again. It's weird how quickly muscle memory sits in. Yeah, I think a lot of stuff on that's pretty good. That'll do. Yeah, I found a lot of stuff on macOS that day, and I think a lot of I don't know what the interoperability with Swift is like, because last time I did it all in Objective C++, which is really strange, to have a go at. But I don't know what the interoperability with Swift and C++ is like. Okay, so I can move. Oh, I'm still moving along the view of the. Let's quit that. I'm still moving along the view of the camera. I want to be able to look around, but kind of still be locked down. So it's going to be, here we go. Yeah. I started learning Swift, and the only thing you can say is it's better than Objective-C. I just think Objective-C is very, very strange. And like, I'm not a big advocate of like good languages and bad languages, and this is better than that. They all serve a purpose, and like Objective-C was for many years the way you programmed on macOS and iOS. So it did added a lot of business value and did a lot of heavy lifting. I just find it a very strange language to code in, like the square brackets, and the fact that you could also use the function notation as well as like the message passing square brackets, I found very, very strange. And then I learned about Objective C++, and all of a sudden my code looked very incredibly different. Yeah, you can just use C++. So question, you want to use NeoVim on Windows, but it's a giant pata. Do you have any public repos that include your toolchain files for cross-compiling from WSL? So I have nothing specifically set up for, I have no public information other than just like, hang on, where is it? This. I do have, if I'm not even logged into Git, I do have all my dot files, which is just how I've set up various setup bits for WSL, sorry, for NeoVim and Tmux and stuff like that. So I guess between the two of them, that is basically, if I was to start a new dev box, I would basically use both of those links. So that should have enough to kind of get you going. Obviously, that kind of assumes you have WSL set up, and are reasonably confident installing stuff from whatever package manager of your distro is, and stuff like that. I've not used the new Visual Studio, so I have zero opinion on it. Evening. Okay, right. So I want to not have a Y component. If I normalize it, can I... Is it enough just to do walk direct dot Y equals that? Because obviously that will change the magnitude of the vector, but I'm going to normalize it anyway? Question mark? Right, okay, so obviously it's very hard to snap because we've got this massive skybox, it's kind of hard to get a reference, but I think that I am indeed on the XZ plane. Okay, nailed it. So I'm just going to comment this up as like, oh my goodness. Have I got like another window running that I'm unaware of? How very bizarre. Okay, so let's commit this as reset main for game. Sure. Okay, so my kind of vision to start with is I want to have a puzzle-esque type of game that, with the mechanics based on around movement, but not like kind of wall jumping kind of thing, but more like you move and other things in the level move corresponding to you, so you kind of have to plan a route out in order to achieve the end goal. So for instance, like the first one we'll do is that barrel will move when you move. So if you move right, it moves right. If you move left, it moves left. And you have to get the barrel to, like, I don't know, some sort of marker. And then we could introduce the next one where there's another barrel which moves the inverse to you. So when you move left, it moves right. And then kind of I want to build up like 5 or 6 interesting fun mechanics like that. And then just basically start putting them together and just seeing what happens. That's kind of my thought process. So yes, we should absolutely. We have no concept of like proper, like time step yet. I need to go back and read the fix your time. Where is it? Fix your time. Where? Like is it this one? Gaffer on Games. Yeah, this is like the canonical. As someone who has never worked in the industry and doesn't know what is considered like the status quo, I feel like this article gets bandied around quite a lot. Yeah, I probably should, but again, I'm not. I think I'm kind of relying on the fact that I've got VSync on, so my frame rate's pretty much capped at 1/60 anyway. So, but yeah, I will go through. We'll probably go through this article live at some point and add it. Okay, so let's have a think about this. I'm going to want some sort of class, right? So what's in source? We've got events, graphics, physics, TLV, and then basically a whole bunch of other crap that I've not bothered organizing yet. So I want to try and keep a bit more organized as we go forward. So I think I might have like a gameplay directory or a game directory, and then we can start putting stuff in there. Like, for instance, entity should be in there. Stuff that doesn't involve engineer stuff. Source. I don't know if game is too generic. And also that's kind of confusing because we have the game namespace. Might not be data specific though. I'm going to go game. Oh, but then should it be gameplay? I've already spent more time thinking about this than I should have. The game space namespace. Game objects, yeah. I'm gonna go with just I've committed. Keep it simple. Source game, and I'm gonna want like a I even thought about earlier the noun, the verb came to me. I think object transformer. So the idea is that we'll just create a bunch of these. Each barrel will have a transformer attached to it, and then that will, or the object transformer will own the barrel. I haven't quite decided exactly how I want to do it yet, but this will have a bunch of we'll have an implementation per mechanic, and then we can just sort of spawn these up and attach barrels to them and stuff. I say attach, like I don't have like an ECS or anything like that. We will wire it up. Game things and stuff. I think we could very well have ended up with that. Yeah. Do you have a list of resources I recommend about reverse engineering? The only one I recommend is the only one, like the one that I did, which was ignore the fact that it doesn't have a valid TLS. Well, I mean, do your own due diligence. I'm quite surprised their TLS certificate has expired. Read into that what you will. I basically, this is how I learnt, like really kind of how computers worked and how to be good at GDB by just playing through this game. It is an incredible resource. It is hard. And don't click on any of the tags links because they're full of random JavaScript people have stuffed in there. But definitely start the first level and have a go. I think if you can get to past 9, that is a solid achievement. 9 separates the wheat from the chaff on that game. It is quite tedious, but if you can kind of commit, it's also the whole game is a lesson in patience as well. If you can commit to it and get past that, then you're doing pretty good. Right. Anyway, enough about that. Let's chat more code. Good people are here to see code. I've even written pragma code. That's how much I want to write code. Okay, so class object transformer. And we can also have the object Decepticon as well. I think I'm going to want something like virtual object transformer equals default, and then hash include vector, and then I think I want, oh, is this going to work? Virtual auto update vector 3 equals 0. Basically, yeah, often, yeah. If you're talking and typing, or you also, I don't know, it's terrible for it's terrible for live streaming, but I also find it's very hard to type when people are watching you as well. Which is, this is why I choose to do it in front of so many people. Basically, what I think I want a very basic interface. Like, I think I want a thing where I can just call update, and it will basically tell me where the latest position of the object is. So every tick, I'll update it, and then this will be. So what I don't know whether should this be. I think actually technically this should be void, and then we should have a virtual auto position vector 3 equals 0, because I could totally conceive of a situation where we need to query the position without updating it, because it'd be a bit annoying if we had to get the position of the object without doing an update. So no, so I'm not using the physics system for this. I'm going to basically just do it manually by just tracking the player, and then something physics system, because I want the controls to feel quite tight. I want there to be a very obvious one-to-one mapping of your player input to the other things moving and whatever the way they do. And I'm worried if I try and simulate that with the physics engine, things could maybe get out of sync, or because you would have to. So so I was thinking about this earlier. My concern is that I move the character to the right, like 1/60th of a second for my velocity over one update tick or whatever. How do I then move the barrel? Because that's a rigid body, so I would have to apply a force or a velocity and then immediately stop it. So I could conceive of a situation where, like, I press the D key, and then that immediately on this update applies a force to the barrel, and then when I release it, it stops it. I just feel like that could very quickly get out of sync and not be deterministic, or not feel deterministic. Whereas if I am manually just moving stuff around in relation to whatever inputs are required, I feel that will be better. The problem then is that I don't know how I'm going to resolve collisions, because I'm no longer using rigid body. I think we might have to just use Jolt to detect collisions and then manually resolve them. So if two barrels, we can assume a constant velocity of all objects. So if two barrels collide, something maths dot product angle, we could then just move them apart manually. So that's why I wanted to take. I know we're going to need. There's absolutely no way I'm writing collision detection code myself. So I always knew that we would need Jolt for something, or I'm pretty, like, 99% sure. we might not need it in the traditional sense where we have rigid bodies and virtual characters and stuff. I just wanted to get those set up just to kind of learn Jolt a bit and get some stuff in there. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. I feel like I'm waffling a little bit now, but that's kind of my thought process. And this is why I'm very keen to only write stuff we actually need, and I was feeling like the physics engine was getting a little bit more into things we think we might need rather than things that we might need. Yeah, so it is colliding, so we might be able to just literally transport stuff around and then use the broad phase and then the narrow phase collision detection to basically say, are these colliding? Okay, we'll now handle that ourselves and move things out. Obviously, if you've got like a row of objects all colliding, you'd have to iteratively move them all away. I don't really know. I don't know. I don't have all the answers. But what I do have is an interface. So let's go with this. So I guess the first one would probably be like static object transformer, as in something that never moves. So I think we should do that first because I think we're going to want some static barrels, so we at least have a reference point, and also it's a pretty easy one to write. So let's do VS source game static object transformer. I'll do pragma once this, get that right. Hash include game object transformer, hash include game, nope, vector 3 class static object transformer, and that'll be a public, nope, hang on, it will be public object transformer. Oh, again, early onset RSI. Okay. So this will have a static object transformer constructor, which I think will take a vector 3 position, right? And then this will own, so that it will always be at the position that you construct it at, and it'll be effectively immutable. So we can just store that here. I've chosen not to store a position in here because I kind of prefer just interfaces rather than abstract classes, as in like here's just the contract of thing you can do, and then just leave all the implementation up to the deriving classes. If every single class has a vector 3 position and then defines this, we might just make this effectively an abstract class and move that up. But I kind of prefer to think in interfaces rather than just like, you know, you've got a bit of implementation over here, you've got a bit of implementation over here. Yeah, position, well, I mean, you'll have to have, you're right. Well, also, the position might need to be dynamically calculated. Say it, I don't know, moves every 10 seconds or something like that. So you could just do that within the definition of this function. Yeah, so there's lots of stuff. Could have a mix in. We could use, well, I mean, I say CRTP. We've got deducing this, so we could use that. Well, I'm not a fan of mix-ins. I just would rather just sort of write the code linearly. I think for heavier weight functionality, then a mix-in might make sense. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on that. Such that they are. And I really don't mind. Just like, oop. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's perfectly fine. Obviously, I prefer. I mean, like, I'm a fan of functional programming. Like, standalone pure functions which just take input, produce a value, and have no side effects. I don't see how you can re-argue that's not great. Like, especially if they're composable, they're testable, but it's just, it's not always possible. And we'll override this, and we'll override that. And we'll override this, and we'll override that, and we won't make it pure virtual because that doesn't make any sense, because this is the implementation. I hate the equals 0 syntax. It just seems so strange. Override. So, I put the override in the wrong place, haven't I? So fun. Is this the same issue we had before, where you now can't? Oh, is it because do I need override right at the end? I wonder if this was the issue I had when I was trying to use the trailing return types. Was I just putting the override in the wrong place? Interesting. Fun trick. This will, by doing this, the compiler will check that you do have a virtual destructor declared in the base class. If I had forgotten to put in a virtual destructor, which has certain implications around potential memory leaks and deleting depending on what you're doing, this would then find that it could override nothing, and then your compiler would complain. So yeah, by doing this, you kind of force the compiler to check that you do actually have a virtual base destructor. The only issue with this is that this then inhibits the default move operators, so this object will now copy only. It makes no difference because this is a primitive, this is a trivially copyable type, so a copy and a move of vector 3 are equivalent. But if this had, say, a vector or something where it had a optimized move operator, you would not get that. And you might not realize you don't get that. So it's just something to be aware of, that defining a destructor inhibits the compiler auto-generating you move operators. Just drop the C++ lore on you for a second. Yeah, I mean, it's each their own, right? Like, I think I've written a lot of code across various industries that have been in production that have done this, and it seems to be fine. I'm not saying there's not other ways and better ways, and I'm always keen to learn better ways, and I'd like to write like an ECS one day. I think that might be quite fun to kind of like reason about and optimize. But for like what I want now, which is basically a bunch of different functions that get called and assigned to different objects, like a very shallow object hierarchy, I think is a perfectly viable choice for that. I think people can get too bogged down with like, I don't like X, Y, and Z, and then kind of find it hard to make progress, but stick with. But yeah, I don't know. I'm going to want some sort of implementation of this now, aren't I? So eSource game static object CPP. Game static object transformer namespace game. I'll have one of these. Right, and then static object transformer const vector 3 position. And then static object. Whoa! What the hell happened there? Okay. 13GFU. Go across. Go down. I static object transformer, and then. Okay, and then this will return position, and then the update won't do anything because there's nothing for it to done because it's just a static one. Yeah, I mean, I think it's only natural that people will have a preferred style that they are comfortable with, and then programming is it's just a tool for driving value for a business, right? Or driving business value. So it's understandable you would have a preference for a particular style that you are comfortable doing in, but I still think you kind of have to be pragmatic because unfortunately you don't always just get to write your own code by yourself forever. So I think being able to kind of be pragmatic and open to work on different styles, even if it's not how you would have done it, generally kind of makes progress a lot easier. I'm going to need a CMake file now, right? So let's copy source. Ooh, looks like I've already done this before. Into game. And then in source game CMake. What do I want? Static object transformer.cpp. And then in the CMake above that, I should be able to let's just check that builds. We've integrated it all. The order great question. Does the order of the directories matter in the CMake? I suspect potentially, depending on what they do. For us, no, because all they do is just add sources to the library. So I just keep them in alphabetical order because it keeps me happy, and I like things in alphabetical order. I think if this had, because it's all on targets, right? So if all your targets are wired up, CMake should build a dependency graph and execute it for you. So I mean, I'm sure there is some hot CMake you could write where the directory order does matter, but I think by and large it doesn't, and I would argue it shouldn't. What's going on? Why are we having a bad time? Okay, it's building the object transformer, which is good. The nice thing about the object transformers as well is that, you know what? Do we treat ourselves and write some tests for them because they are testable, right? Static object transformer. Do I stick them all? No, I've not done this with the TLV and I don't like it. I prefer to have one test file per thing I'm testing. I didn't do that with the TLV because we were just kind of rapidly iterating through it, so that's something I should probably go back and fix at some point. Right, so static object transformer tests.cpp. What tests have we got? Anything? What's a good test? Bring that in. Hash include game. And then test static object transformer. The only thing we really can do is position. Game slash nope. Sort phase 3. So what we can do here is do const auto transformer equals game, and no, hang on a minute, const auto position equals game vector 3 1.0 f 2.0 f 3.0f, and then static object transformer position, and then we can just do assert equals transformer dot position position. And I guess we could technically test the update even though it doesn't do anything, just to check it is kind of benign. Transformer dot update. If we ever accidentally have a mad one and implement something in update that changes the position, then we are set. Nope, because source nope, tests make MNOPQRS static object transformer test.cpp. Okay, let's try that. Yeah, I think we arrived at the same conclusion there. Nailed it. Look at these tests. There should definitely be a bit more. I kind of regret not writing some more tests as we went along, because now now that we've moved past that code, I'm kind of, there's a bit of inertia to come back and writing them, but we definitely need to finish writing the TLB ones. I think we might, what I might periodically do is just take a stream to kind of do a code review, give chance to kind of, for anyone new to go over all the code, we can make some sort of small improvements, pay back any tech debt along the way, people can have a chance to ask questions. So I might like every third, something like that, do you know what I mean? Like every sort of 3 or 4 streams, be like, right, we're just going to spend 2 hours today just reviewing all the code, making changes, you know, any like niggly annoying things that we kind of want to fix. I might do that. I think that might be fun? Question mark. Okay, so let's now wire this in. Absolutely going to need memory, not memory.h, don't know what that is, that sounds terrifying, and game static object, and just for completeness, game object transform, thanks, object transformer. Okay, right. So I've got a list of entities, and for each of these entities, I'm going to want a transformer. So I could let me go over what I'm thinking. The question is, do I create another vector of entities and then just match them up pairwise on the index? Or do I construct a new structure which stores both of them together? I feel like they should probably be together. Let's just do. I'm going to keep them. I'm just going to keep things. Yeah, I think. So the point on Twitch is, do we want the entities to hold a list of transformers in case we want more than one on the object? I think the question is we don't know. I want to keep it simple. So at the moment, I'm just going to declare transformers. There'll be a one-on-one mapping to the entities, and I think we'll be prepared. Once we kind of get a better feeling for what's going on, we'll refactor it. I think this is definitely temporary because I think this is just easier for the moment. Also, it means I get to use ranges in a minute, which I you know, I bloody love. Is this going to work Yeah, I knew there was some oddity with using initializer lists with make unique. Uh, is it just that? I can't remember off the top of my head what the issue is. As soon as I wrote it, I was like, I've written this before. It's something to do with the initializer list and it trying to make a copy, which is why it's complaining that the copy constructor is deleted because it is for a unique pointer. I don't really want to create a list of them. As in, I don't want to like line by line. I either want to do them all. Might. What's the intent say? So see still vector with make unique. Vector make unique initialize list. Yeah, I guess you could have a vector of each. No, because I think they're going to be some of them are going to be stateful potentially. So we will need a individual instantiation per entity. Why is this? I feel like. That sounds stupid, right? Well, I'm being stupid somewhere. Yeah, this should work, right? Even without make unique, I've got a vector of unique pointers of object transformers, right? And then inside that initializer list, I want to construct a new unique pointer owning a new one of these. Is initializer list copying? Yeah, I think I've just found the same thing. Yeah. that's annoying. Okay, so the issue here, so this here is a initializer list. I remember now, which is a special object that is constructed, which vector has an overload for, and it looks like it gets copied rather than moved from. So this won't work with these annoying. Okay, in which case I don't want to push them or put in place them back one by one. I feel that's absolutely horrible. Doing them in this, I was kind of on the fence about. So what we'll do is we will create our own struct transformed entity, and this will have a game entity, and this will have a this will own it, yeah, and then game, and then a stood unique pointer of game object transformer. Nope, don't want done like that. Transformer. Okay. There we go. Right. Okay. So now entities becomes a vector of C2F colon transformed entities, and in one of the am I still gonna have the same issue? If I just push the problem further down. Oh, mother. Is this really? Yeah, but it doesn't matter, right? Because even if I have a constructor, this struct is by definition move only because it has a unique pointer in it, right? Isn't that the same? Isn't it the same issue? I've just kicked the can further down the road, but a unique pointer is still non-copyable regardless of where you put it. Can I do something funky with templates and lambdas here? I feel like. Like, I feel. I guess actually, no, that's fine because I just won't use the initializer list here, and that's fine. I don't mind adding them one by one here. I just don't want to run two initializer. I don't want to do one with initializer list and one without because that does seem egregious. So what I can do now is do entities dot emplace back game entity, delete the code, can't remember what it was, something like at mesh, at material, position, 0.05f scale, and then the old text samps, and then stood make unique game static object transformer, because this will use perfect forwarding, so it will move in, or forward in technically, the move only object, and this is an R value reference anyway, so this is just be used to initialize the final value. Is that God damn it. Oh, of course, it doesn't know what that is, does it? Because it's a template. Game vote 3. That looks good. So I need to update this. So now it needs to be address of e dot entity. Vim just died. WSL is doing an upgrade? I never told it to do that. Unbelievable. Absolutely unacceptable. I've lost my team-up session. Like, have I? Oh, actually, it's... I just... Who said it could do that? Now you get to watch as I try and remember the incantation, the runes I have to draw in the sand to get my dev environment back up. I need... one of those. I need one of those. I need fish. I need to be in the root. I need to do CD game projects. Oh, spoiler alert for the next video. Don't go back and watch that bit. CD projects game. Then I need tmux, and then I need a new one here. Call this build. And then let's just see if that works. No, hang on, I need to be in the build directory, don't I? And I need to run the compdb anyway. I absolutely cannot believe that. Yeah, no, my machine is riddled with all sorts of weird nasties. My computer turns on pretty much 3 o'clock every day, and as far as I can tell, I have no wake on LAN like at all, or any settings in the BIOS. Something just decides that my computer needs to be on at 3 p.m. every day. Some malware that's in it. Yeah, it's true. How big are the CMake files combined? Not big at all. The largest one will probably be the source one, and that's like... let's have a look. 42 lines. I did have a lock, like is it C lock? So we're at 71 lines of CMake code, not including the root one, so probably about less than 100 lines, and 4,500 lines of C++, which is not bad. Like, not a bad amount of code. Okay, I was in the middle of making a mess. Great, thanks. So we got this. It doesn't like this. Oh, I did not save my change. That's why. Dot entity. Hello. Glad you're here. It's funny, what's the software? Streamerbot, which combines both the Twitch and the YouTube chat, has a little tag whenever someone has like the first message, and a lot of people were very quiet until Windows broke, and then lots of people's first comments were berating Windows, which I just find quite funny. So do feel free to chat more. Oh, I bet Copilot is back on now too as well. You're right. Did that blend? It did. Okay, right. So now somewhere in the depths of our update loop, after we've done that, before we do the rendering, we're going to do auto entity transformer in entities, and then we'll do transformer update entity dot set position transformer position. So if all goes well, this should do absolutely nothing, but it should do absolutely nothing in a much more structured way. Can't believe that. Absolutely unbelievable. I'm still mad. Okay, right. Good. It does nothing, but it's been told to do nothing rather than just inherently doing nothing. I certainly got the green light in there. It's looking a bit sickly green on top, and the red light somewhere around there. Can I still bring the... Oh, I can. That's exciting. Did not realise I still had that. Yeah. Well, that still works, which is good. That's nice. I can still bring that up if I need to. There's some code to move the entity each frame outside. That is true, yeah. But I think I don't want to spend too much time on a thing that does nothing. It's a good point, but we've tested it, we've integrated it. I think we're kind of now to go on to the next one. So the next one's a bit more interesting because this is where I actually got to start thinking a little bit more about the design. So I want a camera object transformer, I guess, for better, or a player transformer. Player object transformer. So when I move right, it moves right. When I move left, it moves left. Yada yada yada. I guess the simplest way of doing that would be just to construct it with the camera, and then the position returns the camera position, which is actually a good point. This is actually a reason why we couldn't have the mix in position or have it as an abstract class, because I think we might just generate it from the camera. Let's do that. So let's do eSource game. And then we've got player. I'm going to call it, be more specific. Camera object transformer.h. Alright. VS source game. Gonna just object, replace that with what did I call it? I've already forgotten. Camera object. Nice. And then but now this will take a camera type. This will take a const camera, and then this will have a const camera. I'm not a big fan of storing references in classes because it inherently affects the semantics of the class, like whether it's now no longer copy assignable or move assignable. But seeing as we're just going to slap this in a unique pointer and only store it once, I'm kind of okay with it. Oh, hang on. It can be const because it's supposed to be a reference. Good spot. Yeah, because I just, whenever the camera moves, this will just inherently return the position through it. So again, the update will probably do nothing. It's the one I want to do after this, which I think we'll probably have time to do today, where I think we'll actually have to use that update method. So now we can just do e source game camera CPP. Again, it's going to be lazy, and because a lot of this is the same. Camera, and then camera object will be, so from here we'll go hash include camera, and then camera, and update will do nothing, and then this will return camera dot position. Wait a minute. No, that's not right, is it? I don't want to turn I want to return the delta. It still needs an initial position, right? I'm being silly here, getting ahead of myself. We still need an initial position. Const. I don't know if anyone's spotted this and has been silently shouting. I think I might have to make this an abstract class, actually, just because I can't foresee a situation where a transformer wouldn't need to know where the object was, but we'll keep going as is for now. I'm making a lot of this up as I go along, so I'm really prepared to make some mistakes. Right. Why the duplicate includes? Camera and vector are already included in the header, which is also included in CPP. Yes, that is true. So the way hash includes work in C++ is they're pretty shit. They literally just copy and paste the contents of that file into the final CPP file, because you only compile one CPP file at a time, translation units, blah 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 blah. So what you're basically saying there is that I've hash included this, and because all the hash includes are resolved by the preprocessor, I effectively get these two for free. So why bother doing them here? I am a big believer of including what you use and basically avoiding what's called transitive includes. The idea being that you kind of inherently get what your include for free, but I don't want to rely on that, because say camera.h included some widget that I used here. It's absolutely fine until I refactor this, because I don't need the camera anymore, and now the code won't work because I was basically getting that include for free. So I'd have to go and figure that out and include it. Whereas if you always just include what you use, then you never have that problem. The one, I guess, kind of exception to that would potentially be the header file, the corresponding header file for the class, because like no refactoring in the world is ever going to make me remove this, because I need the declaration for the in order for me to define it. But I try and, you have a degree of pragmatism in all these things, but I do try and avoid like, this rule is for this, except for this and this and this. So for me, like, avoid transitive includes is just a rule that I follow. So pragma once only prevents you from having the contents of the file included more than once in the translation unit. It doesn't have anything to do with transitive includes, like affect your cross translation units. You need the pragma once, because otherwise this and this, the camera.h would be in there twice, which could potentially lead to an ODR or an ODR violation, depending on what's inside those files. C++ is just a mess. But here we are, and it's still pretty great, and I enjoy programming in it. I'm all out of water, that is sad. Right, okay. Time to think really hard. I want the delta, right? So I want the difference between the last update. So I want something like vector 3 camera bar last position. Camera last position is camera dot position. So now I want the updates, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to say position plus equals the vector from A to B is B minus A, right? So I want the distance from from wherever it was to wherever it is now, I want that vector, which means I need to do subtracting the other way around. So that's camera dot position minus camera last position, and then camera last position now equals camera dot position. I think. Yeah, that's right. I think that's what I want. Right, so that means it doesn't matter how fast I'm moving or how long it's been since the update was called. When you do call update, it will work out the absolute distance that you've moved and move the barrel by that. Yeah, let's write a test. That is write a test. What were the vector tests looking like, by the way? Were they pretty... could probably be a little better as well. Maybe we'll... I think we should probably write some... because... so... shut up. My philosophy for testing is once you've tested functionality, you don't need to retest it. So if I test vector 3, then I can just use those vector 3 operations in other tests, and I know they work because I've already tested them, so I don't need to test that, the difference between the two is whatever. I'm just going to knock out a few of these quickly, because I feel even worse that these are not great. Empty ctor so assert eq what am I doing? Const auto b equals game vector assert eq b dot x not f. Oh, we're almost certainly going to hit some sort of floating point shenanigans somewhere. Then I've got to remember what the g-test runes are for doing floating point difference tests. I cannot believe I let these tests languish so much. And then components 2f 3.3f just R2 R3 to R3 right. Is it expect near? Okay, thanks. I will remember that when inevitably none of this works. What's a good test for normalize? Is it, what's the what am I trying to say? And there's the 2D, there's the plane triangle, which is it 4, 5, 6 or 3, 4, 5? There's one where they're all integral numbers and it just works. I don't know if there's an equivalent one for this. I guess I'll just have to work it out. Yeah, 3, 4, 5. But does that work in 3 dimensions though? Like, why did I decide to implement all the maths myself instead of doing something GLM? Again, it kind of comes back to like, I just think it's kind of fun. I think there's a lot of interesting low-level C++ we can talk about by doing stuff like this. For instance, how to do efficient operator overloading by only defining like the assignment one and then re-implementing the base one in terms of that. Stuff like stood hypot, if you've never seen that before, that's kind of useful. Just general like class design, how I like to do like multiple constructors and how they all kind of feed into each other. Writing our own formatters. I just generally think there is value sometimes in doing these sort of things. Not always. Like if we were on a time crunch and we wanted to make a game, we would not be doing this. But I think in terms of me twice a week standing here talking about C++, I try and write as much C++ as possible, which kind of not necessitates, but naturally leads to writing a lot of stuff from scratch. Yeah, I think there is value to be found in here somewhere. What's a 3D magic triangle then? 3, 4, 5, 6? Surely not. It doesn't matter. We'll just do it. The problem is, like, so when writing tests, I don't want to have guilty knowledge. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to calculate this in the test, but I got a feeling that's almost inevitable in this case because I'm just re-implementing the functionality. I guess just having known numbers would help. So it's a 3D magic triangle. Okay, fine. Okay, I think I got it. So I think what I want is const auto length equals 50.0f, right? That's 3 squared plus 4 squared plus 5 squared. And then I want to do const auto v equals game vector 3 2.0f 3.0f 4.0f 5.0f. Again, like, because I've tested this, I can just now assume that this works, kind of deal. And then assert equals game vector 3 normalize v, and this will be a game vector 3 yes, you're right. What's it got to be? It's got to be expect float equal, or do we want expect near with an epsilon? Expect near, and we'll do an epsilon, and then we'll do v.x over length v dot y
over length v dot z over length. And then what's a good epsilon, like 0.0001 f? Like, I mean, I'm just literally just pulling that out. I think actually it might be a bit too accurate. Why is it not liking that? CMake build and ctest dot. Okay. The following warning is true, isn't there? Too many arguments function. Too many arguments. I thought you said that I had a. Expect near. Oh, you can't use braced initializers in gtest. I think it messes with the macro, right? Or have I made that up? Argument 4 from game vector to double. Yeah, but it still doesn't like it though. Yeah, I didn't think so, but it's still. What am I missing? What am I actually missing? Testing assertion result. Testing double near pred format. Takes a load of char stars. Argument 4 from vector 3 to double. Too many arguments for fix available. Sure. Just look at the docs for it. Assertion references. Expect near. Oh, yes, I know exactly why. Yes, yes. This obviously makes sense. So obviously I can't just convert. The compiler is absolutely right. I cannot just convert a vector to a double. It is 100% right. Okay, so const auto n equals game. Well, I don't think I'll be writing tests today, so this is fun. I've got to do it. Got to be done. So I have to check all the test all the individual components, right? Expect near not 1 f, right? Right. Now we're cooking. Now we're. God damn it. Oh, because now. It's not wrong. Compiler's rarely wrong. But when it is, it's an absolute nightmare. I can't remember why I chose to have it as a static rather than member function. If I'm being totally honest, I think I probably just prefer immutability, but
yeah, I can't honestly tell you why. I think maybe because I wrote cross first and this was already static. I'm like, oh well, I might as well add another static method. But yeah, that was one of the first things we wrote. Output on failure. Or is it verbose? It's one. I can't remember. It's one of those flags. All right. I mean, that's way off. Oh, wait a minute. Have I hypotenused wrong? I need to square root that, don't I? God, we're green across the board. Right, okay. Cross product test value. There's going to be a good cross product test value. Come on, Wikipedia must have like a worked example. Just give me the actual numbers. I could just wolfram it. Assume that's... Is that right? Is that the mathematical cross product? It must be. I mean, I put cross, so I feel like it'd be a bit annoying if it wasn't. I just was not expecting to get whole values out of it. I suppose it's just multiplications and subtractions, isn't it? So that's fine. My brain is not in like maths mode today. Const auto v equals sorry, v1 equals game vector 3 1.0f 2.0f. I wonder if these are friendlier floats, so might be I get away with just the equality operator. 4 5 6 assert equal v1 is it static, isn't it? Game vector 3 cross v1 v2 game vector 3 minus 3.0f 6.0f minus 3.0f. And one of those for good measure. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to spend the whole, I really want to get that transformer like tested and wired up and having to play around with it. So I'm just going to blitz through some of the maths ones quickly, and then I might just do the nice. I'll probably just do one of these two. It doesn't matter because one calls the other, and then we'll add the rest later. It's really having a bad time with that, isn't it?
So let's do. Where's the? Oh, there it is. Right. Okay, fine. So let's do. Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to do plus and minus, and then we can test the other one, and then we can wire it in, and then we can go about our day. So addition const auto. I'll just take these. So this, although I don't have it on, this is where like Copilot and stuff like that really excels. Is just looking, just like auto-generating boilerplate test code. Test code. .f, 7.0f, 9.0f. Okay, right. Now we're cooking. Absolutely crushing it. Addition, subtraction, minus, and then we'll end up with minus 3.0f, minus 3.0f, minus. But which epsilon? Well, epsilon just means epsilon just means a small value, right? Like which one? I mean, or you talking about the stood numeric limits one? There's a really interesting article. I'm going to change these, by the way, because I don't want these to be the same, because I'm worried that would, if there's a bug where I set x, y, z to be the same value, that would mask it. So let's come up with some more fun numbers. Have I just done the same thing? So -2, -5, -6. The epsilon you need for floating point comparison changes depending on the size of the floats. The larger the floats get, the actual bigger epsilon you need to be kind of representative. Yes, it is. And 6, yeah. Hopefully the test failed. Okay, right, okay. Oh, I feel better. I feel better about that. So E tests. What do we call it? I've already forgotten what we called it now. Was it camera object transformer test of CPP? E source tests static. Right, okay. And camera. And right. I'm gonna need a camera, aren't I? Include camera, and then I don't think it's got. I think by design it doesn't have a default constructor, which means I'm gonna have to do all this gubbins. And oh my goodness, right, okay, let's hash include numbers. And then 800.0f. It literally doesn't matter because we're not going to be using any of that. My near plane only 100. My far plane only 100. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Camera position. Camera. Set equal should start off with the position, and then on the update, we'll construct another one of these. Let's put that there. Bring those up. Okay. Yeah, I know. I mean, float is a float is a float. So now, actually, I want non-const camera because I'm going to do camera dot I'm sure I have a translate, right? And then do 1.0f, 2.0f. So I'm going to move it along each of those. Obviously, I know our camera's only going to move on one plane, but let's just check it all wired up correctly. I am using a standing desk, yes. I find it helps keep me, well, hopefully a bit more like engaging, and it's nice for a bit of a break. I spend all day sitting down, so it's nice to stand up and talk. Okay, so the transform position should be now the original, and let's auto translate equals in vector 3 1.0f, 2.0f, 3.0f. Right, so if we translate the camera by the translate amount, and then the position, I'm hoping we can get away with, because they're reasonably whole numbers, without that equality song and dance. Okay. CMake there, and then camera. See if that blends. Yes, I am using WSL to compile for Windows. Because why not? It's 2025. Linux on it's Linux on the desktop. And I want to move. Is that the starting position? I did not realize that. Yeah, sure. I do try to avoid repeated numbers because I'm always worried that will mask like a subtle bug. Let's hope Windows doesn't decide to do an update for me. I'm still mad. That's right. It's not wrong. Link error? Oh, have I just not... Have I... have I just not built the CPP file? That's funny. Does help. Helps you build the thing you want to test first. Oh, it's linking. It's thinking about it. It's linked. I think we're good. Look at that. Loads of tests. Okay, right. Last thing.
And then I think this will be a nice ending point for today, and plenty of stuff to think about for next time. I'm gonna have to move. Where's the camera? I don't think I have declared the camera there. Right, let's just move the old camera up a bit. Stick that under window. I feel like those two are sort of linked anyway. Kind of ish, maybe not. Right, okay. So now let's stick this guy at like 5.0 f, 0.0 f. So slightly to the right of the first barrel. Make sure I update his nav, and then camera, and then what are we thinking? Should we do a poll? Let's poll. Let's do it. Is this going to work first? Let me just check it builds first. The tests pass. We think we've wired everything up correctly. Let's do a poll. Will it work first? Will the barrels move correctly? Correctly. Our prediction, and I think we can do a start a poll. So if you're new here, we like to do when we're a big interesting juncture in the project. We like to see if we're going to get it right first time, and it's nice to poll to see what everyone's confidence in me is. The LSP errors are slightly strange because it's using ClangD and I'm actually compiling with MSVC, so there might be a subtle difference between the two. And ClangD doesn't probably really super like the fact that I'm building on Windows, but I could be wrong. Twitch is optimistic. Twitch is 99% yes. 1% no. How do I end the... Right, and then YouTube is 70-30, 60-30, around about that. So I end the poll there. Right. Oh, I'd say that was working. Ooh. 70-30, sorry, I misspoke. It looks like the other one is moving, but it's because this is moving with us. We probably need a third static. Do you know what I mean? But that's right, isn't it? Because I can see it getting further from the light. It just looks like if we had a level, that might be a little more obvious. Choose a prediction outcome. Choose outcome. Yes. That's pretty cool. It really messes with my mind that I was like, oh, it's wrong. I'm pressing forward, but it's getting closer to me, but it's still right because that one is moving with me. I've just got no frame of reference. We could definitely do with some more static geometry. Okay, let's have a quick look at Git because I think there's a lot in here now. So let's go commit update vector3 tests, and then I think we can basically do add object transformer
interface, and then we've got which one did we do first? It was static. Cannot be bothered to partially add a new file. Will it let me do it? LazyGit is smart enough to figure it out. Okay, fine, cool, I'll take that. I hate doing a partial add on a new file. Static and static, so commit add static object transformer class and tests, and then commit add camera object transformer class and tests, and then it's easier if I do this out on the command line. I'll do that last. Commit integrate changes into main. Yes, okay. So it was this one I want, wasn't it? So Q, Z, lol, git stir, git add source cmake, lol, Q git commit fix up head 1 2 and 2 git rebase dash I auto stash auto squash head 1 2 3 4 I think. Sure, nailed it. Yeah, it's my history. I can do what I want. And I guess for the sake of completeness, ctest. Sorry, I just kind of worked through that like I would normally and didn't really explain any of that. And then I kind of missed maybe some valuable, interesting knowledge. So I committed this, then I committed this, right? And then I didn't commit everything I needed to in this. So what I need to do is effectively rewrite history. So you could unstage all the changes or you could reset all the changes and then read all the commits. But if you do commit dash dash, if you stage everything you want to amend to a commit and do dash dash fix up on another commit, it will create a special fix up commit. And it would have, I don't know if I've got it here in the history still. I didn't show it. It'll be something like fix up : and then the commit message of the one you want to fix up. And then if you do an interactive rebase below on any commit below this, Git will give you all the commits and basically say, oh, what do you want to do? Do you want to merge them? Do you want to squash them? But if you do auto squash, it will automatically rearrange the commit messages such that that one will get fixed up, and then you just go, yeah, that's fine, save it, and then it just squashes them all in. Yeah, I added. Did I not add it to this one? I thought I did. So we could just have a look at. Did I do all that and then make a mistake? Yeah, I would say definitely do it locally. Don't. No, it's there. Source CMake change there. Yeah, I would say locally is fine. So my usual. So I see what you mean. So I did think about this, but then I didn't vocalize it because I think this would have then caused CMake to fail because I would have added subdirectory, but it wouldn't have had the CMake file in it yet because this is where I created it. And I like each commit to kind of build and be atomic. So yes, it would have made it conceptually makes sense there, but until I had the actual new sub CMake file, it wouldn't have worked. Just where's my chatting window? Here I am. Okay. I guess the way I like to work with Git is I basically commit uploads of stuff as I'm going along, whip commits, whatever, and then sort of at the end of the day push it all up so it's backed up. And then what I will normally do is when I want something ready for PR, or once I think a feature is complete, I will revert all the commits, as in not undo the work, but I will remove all the commits, and then I will go back and commit everything as if, you know, the correct way, as if that's what I meant to do from the start. Obviously, if there's some stuff I know, like, oh, I've written this bit of code and I think that's fine, I'll commit that with a decent message and then move there. But sometimes, you know, you're just, if you're kind of elaborating or you're working, you know, you're doing lots of changes, it's kind of hard to know a priori what all the Git commits should be. So I would definitely take time to kind of clean up my Git history before I push it up for a review. My kind of personal philosophy is that each Git commit should stand alone. It should be atomic in that sense. It's not always, like, pragmatism has to set in here. It's not always possible, but I really like each commit should check out and build by itself. And if you do that, then you unlock nice things like Git bisect, and, you know, there's lots of other niceties. Git, very much you get out what you put in, and the nicer you treat Git, the nicer it will treat you. So yeah, that's why I'm very much keen on keeping my history clean and rewriting stuff as I go along. And then we can, I said stream 30, I apologise, I think it's stream 29, so apologies if I misled you there. But that's all I've got for today, I think, before everyone heads off. I don't think I have any more YouTube goodies to give away. Nope, not unless I want to pay money for it. So you have to come back next month. You just have to come back next month and roll the dice. I wasn't gonna raid today, but I'll have a quick look. It is a nice feature. I do like to. It is nice to kind of share the love a bit, especially if people are doing C++. So same category, sort by views low to high, Control F C++. Doesn't look like there's anyone doing any today, and that's normally where I would go to. Oh, hang on. Oh, potential. We've been to him before. No one today, I don't think. That's fine. Cool. Any words of wisdom for us before you go? Wear sun cream. Always use sun cream. Fact 50. That would probably be my best advice. And a hat. Cool. I hope you're having a good time. I'll be back Sunday. We'll do some more game mechanics. And yeah, thanks so much for coming along. I think it's this button.